What's up, everybody? Welcome in. 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10, episode number 302. You know, I thought we would have a little PSA for 302 here. I was recently in therapy talking about bullying. And so today's PSA is on how bullying is bullshit. It's something that has been in my life for all of my life. When I was a kid, I used to wear those Forrest Gump braces, you know, the metal rods on your legs. Yeah, that was really fun in, fourth grade. People were totally cool about that. No, they weren't, man. They were tough. They were rude. They were hurtful. A lot of what I remember is people being shitty and knowing zero context, never asking a question, never trying to understand people. It was just more of what they saw was different, what they saw was weird, and so they pushed back on it. And so that was kind of the first real situation in my life where I dealt with bullying. And unfortunately, I lash out. Right, because I've never liked bullying. So from that moment led to a fist fight, my first fist fight in the fourth grade. Got in trouble for that because I was pissed off. I had an entire classroom of people laughing at me after they tied my shoes together and I fell over watching. I went to stand up and fell over. I mean, you think about it, it would happen normally, but with kids, but with loss of mobility and the side. Anyways, totally embarrassing. Whole class laughing at me. So I knew the kid who was responsible for it, so I hauled off and I whacked him. Now, granted, that's because I had fallen asleep in class. That's how it could even happen to me, which is an ongoing problem of mine. I'm very easily to fall asleep in certain situations. That has not changed, but that doesn't end that way anymore. So that's cool. But yeah, so bullying, kid bullying, right? Kid bullying, bullshit. And unfair, right? Kids are ruthless, man. Kids are ruthless to each other. Parents, think of what you want about your kids. They're ruthless, man. When it comes to bullying and being in a herd mentality, group mentality, that shit can get nasty really, really, really fast. So as I grew up, I was always different than everybody else. I talked different. I thought different. I worked through things differently. And so I was always kind of felt, I'm not going to say an outsider because it wasn't like that. I always felt like different, right? And then I became a huge Grateful Dead fan. So then becoming a hippie, there's a little bit of bullying that came with that. Like, oh, look at the long-haired hippie, blah, 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 blah. And stereotypes that follow along. And bullying is a part of that. And now, shit, man, I feel bad for kids today because you're not only bullied in person, but the online bullying is some crazy shit. And it's not just kids, right? It's everybody. It's anyone who has an online personality. Now, I, interestingly enough, in my life, have been dealing with bullying up until I got online. But I don't deal with any online bullying directly. What I mean by that is people aren't a huge fan of me, so it ends up in other bullying ways. That's fine. I get that. It's comments behind my back, things of that nature, whatever. Fine. It's part of being a public, putting yourself out in the public eye, if you will. So, but I don't have the trolls, I don't have the bully, I don't deal with that stuff online. But I see it all the time with friends of mine, people I follow, people I engage with, and it pisses me off. And so I like to call it out. I like to make sure those people know that they have support, they have people behind them. Because when bullying takes over a situation, like I said, it can get nasty really fast with void of facts, void of anything reasonable. And so as we get into an election year that we're in right now, right? The bullying now online takes a different front and a phase to it. And bullying comes in so many different forms. But the online version is getting ugly, and it's one of those things that I don't blame people for walking away from social media. I don't blame people for not allowing their kids there to block that, because that isn't something that kids or even adults, people should have to deal with, right? Other people being that shitty about things they know nothing about. And if they did know about it, they probably wouldn't be saying it. You also have bullying in the workplace. Now, bullying in the workplace is something that growing up in the car business, in the time, you didn't think it was bullying. You didn't realize it was bullying. It was just a conversation amongst you and your managers with a lot of yelling and expletives, which if anyone knows me knows I'm a big expletive guy. So it didn't seem odd to me. But looking back, bullying in the workplace, that's some real shit. That's some real shit. You also have bullying in the courthouse, in the legal system, which is equally bullshit, company to company, people taking it out on each other. I mean, again, anyone who knows the story of a car business knows that's how we started, man. We were sued to start our company for $1 million, totally baselessly, totally just to scare us, to try and put us in a position of fear. And along the way, there have been others. It's okay. It happens. I get it. We're all in business here. It's a small world that we live in automotive. So when that happens, word gets around, right? People know who bullies are. You call bullies out, could get you in more trouble with bullies. You could stay silent, let the bullying keep happening. I prefer to speak out on it. And I know it's come with a cost to me along the way. But if people are going to bully children and women, that's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. And I'm always going to stand up to fight for that, even if it puts me in an uncomfortable position with other people, because at the end of the day, I believe in what I believe in. And you don't have to know someone personally to know they're a bully. Okay? So let that sink in for a second. In the landscape we work in, and we see it all the time, but we sort of let people get by on whatever it is that they do to say, well, that's so-and-so being so-and-so. Nah. We're adults, most of us, in this business. Let's act like it. Let's treat each other with respect. Now, that doesn't mean I have to agree with you. Can I draw the line here, please? I know I'm going to get somebody to say, but Sean. Well, no, I didn't say I have to like you or even believe you. There's enough bad in the world. It's bad. It's bad. It's got nothing to do with bullying. It's just straight up bad. And typically, the bad in the industry are the bullies in the industry. So that's not that weird, right? To see that. Normally, people with their backs against the wall, the only way they know forward is through fear. Whether it's fear-mongering, putting fear in others, whatever it is. I got no use for any of that. I don't live in fear. I don't work in fear. I used to. In the car business, there's no doubt at a retail perspective, you would live and work in fear at times of whoever you worked for. There's no doubt. Most of us have been there. We've all been there. So I want to do this PSA today because I've been feeling, in talking with my therapist, bringing up a lot of my, just my old shit, right? Kind of dealing with things better. I've learned that bullying is not your shit. It's their shit. And it's always been that way. And it will never change. People are being shitty to you, whether it's at home, at work, online, or in the courthouse. They're being shitty to you because that's the only way they know forward. Because they have things in their own life. They're projecting out how they feel. Now, I'm not a therapist. I've been doing enough, though. And I've been doing it long enough to know that this is not my fault. So if you're being bullied, know this, you have a voice, and at minimum, you have someone to listen to you. And I will. And I know a bunch of people within my circle will as well. So let's take this PSA forward. Let's try to be better. Let's try to be more respectful of one another, regardless of what it is that we see or don't see. Let's ask questions. Let's seek to understand before we go into bullying. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Next week on the show, we are going to have some fun with a Mental Health Monday sit down. You're not going to want to miss it. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.